if you can see, database is the place where we store the data. Database ni macam satu almari lah, like locker, where you store all the data that the user enter into the system, to the computer. So the data that user enter into the computer will be put somewhere in the database. Okay. Okay. In the manual of conventional approach, let's say you want to record customer details. You get a phone call from a customer. The customer make an order. So you take a piece of paper, you write down the customer name, customer contact number, and then the date, and then you will list down what is the order, the inventory, quantity ordered by the customer. Okay, that is for customer A. Then when you receive another phone call from customer B, you get another piece of paper, you write down the order from customer B. Okay, so you have the customer A record, you have the customer B record, and then you have the customer C record. If you combine these three pieces of paper, then you put in one file, that is the order file. We call it as order file, right? Betul? Betul tak? Concept so. Betul tak? Okay, so we have the data, we have a records, and then we have a file. Okay, the same thing when you put in the database. In database also we have the data, and then we will create the record for each entity, and then the combination of records will call file. Okay, so here table here is like creating a records lah. So table 1, let's say we want to create a sales system. Sales system. So the sales system we will create first is we have the customer, right? Yeah. When we talk about sale, you can add a customer, isn't it? If there's no customer, there will be no sale. Okay. So we keep the record of the customer. Who are our customer? So what are the characteristics of the customer? Each entity, okay, in the database will have their characteristics. Yeah, so we want to keep record of the customer. We want to know what kind of data that is relevant for this customer. So what do we want to know about the customer? Customer ID, then what else? What are the data that we want to record? What are the characteristics? Customer name. Okay, customer name. Okay, then what else? Customer ID, customer name, okay. Contact number. Okay. Okay, what else? Okay. Next. Check number. Check number is a different table. This is about customer first. Check will be in a payment table, for example. Payment table, it will have the details of the payment. Now we focus on the first entity. We want to know a customer itself. Customer first. What are the other data? Customer email. We want to know about customer email. What else? Customer address. Okay. Lagi? No more. Okay. So that is the field name. This is the characteristics. Okay, the characteristic type of order will be in the order table. Order table. So dalam database ni kita tak nak ada redundancy. Tak nak ada redundancy, but we will link this customer with the order to record the order of the customer. We will link the customer table with the order table later on. Okay. Now we're only collecting the characteristics of that particular customer. Okay. Ini adalah data-data yang jarang berubah, right, about the customer. This is the customer details. Okay. We talk about input mask just now. We want to minimize the error, right? Minimize the error. So we talk about input mask just now. So now we're defining the input mask here. Okay. Customer name. Is it text, memo, number, date, time, currency? Which one? Which format is appropriate for customer name? Text. Okay. Customer phone. Customer phone. Yeah, number. Customer email could be text. Yeah, text is a combination of number and also alphabet. Customer address, okay, text. Okay, probably the customer uh, registration number, for example. No, registration date. Sometimes we want to know when first time we have the transaction with this customer. Because sometimes when we want to allow credit limit to the customer, will evaluate whether this customer is our loyal customer or new customer. So we want to know customer registration date. So this one we might use date or time. Okay, right? So we already create one table. Yeah, one table. Yes. Okay, now we want to create a new table, kan? Contoh those yang sebut tadi tentang payment payment table contoh payment table, right? Payment table, right? This is payment table. Dalam payment kita ada apa? Payment ID, okay, right? Payment, okay. What else? Payment date, okay. Payment receiver, okay. Who is the person who receiving? Okay, payment amount will be in the form of currency. Payment date will be in the form of date. So this is the example of input mask. Input mask. You already define this. So if the user enter the data that is different from this format, so the system won't allow, won't accept it. Yes. Okay, so sekarang kita dah ada customer table. Okay, this is the customer table. This is what we call customer table. This is the entity in our sales database. Yeah, customer. Okay, we can enter the customer name here. Nama? Kita letak nama siapa sini? Ami. Ami berapa phone number? Email? Fahmi. Okay. Inilah. Address. Fahmi kat mana? Johor, Melaka, KL, Selangor. Where are you, Fahmi? Seremban. Okay. When was the first time registering with the company? Okay. So if you have more customer, then you add here. So a completed data here is called a customer record. Okay. Payment is payment received from customer. The payment pula dalam. Yes, payment received from the customer. Yes. Yeah. Right. So this is the record of your first customer. Record consists of data that has been completed here. That has been completed record for your customer. Okay. Right. Okay. Then this is payment. Okay. Ataupun if you don't want to use as payment, you can put it as, tak boleh kita letak payment dulu. Payment from customer. We assume it's payment from customer. Okay. So now you already have the tables, right? Tables is to keep the data about the entity, right? Okay. In here, now we are creating the database already. We are already creating the database where we can keep the records of our entity in this database. Okay. One thing about Access, you dah ada table, right? So now you can quickly design the form. Okay. Of course, you will have lots of customer, kan? So kalau nak enter kat sini macam kurang menarik lah for your clerk to enter all the details, right? So to have a better interface, so we can design a form to enter the data about customer. So we create the form. See, now is the form. So whenever you have a new customer, you can enter through the form, which is more user friendly. Okay, so for example, you have a second customer. Okay, this is second customer. This is the first customer. Customer ID auto, because we assign auto number, so it will be created automatically by the system. Okay, next customer name, siapa? Who is the next customer name? Okay, so kat sini actually ada those field that is entered by the customer. This one is auto generated. This one we put as text box so that user will have to enter. Okay, customer phone, customer email, customer address, user have to enter. Customer registration date, user can choose from the calendar. Okay, and then we also can have other types of data input. Contoh kat sini kita ada button here. This one is called label. This one is called label. Label hanya untuk namakan field tu. Tapi untuk isi di sini. Right? Column. Okay. And then we have text box. This is text box. Text box is where user have to type in. Okay. Sometimes we can have list box. User don't have to type in, but user can choose from the given what we call it from the given list. Okay, contoh kita pergi balik kepada customer design. This is the customer design where you can adjust. And this is the header, and you can adjust the header to include. If you want to add logo, for example, you might want to add logo. So kalau you ada logo, so you can choose logo, insert, and then it will be included. It will enhance. The form design will enhance. Okay, right? Okay, now back form view. Okay, this is the form view. So you can enter new input here for the next customer. Apa tadi? Part 8. Part 8, saya tak tahu penama part 8 berapa. Okay. Nanti ada 2 record dalam ni. Okay. 1. So your data is already in the database. It's easier, isn't it? Okay. Same thing for the payment. Sama juga lah. From the payment here, tadi customer tengok customer, kalau lah kita dah, we already define, right? We already define the format for each of these data type, right? Let's say if you want to enter something else, you want to enter something else in customer name, you want to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kita letak tadi 1. Okay, so see here, the value you enter does not match the number data type in this column. So the system won't allow you to enter. Won't allow you to enter that particular what we call it, that particular data because this one is for number, but we key in as alphabet. Okay, this one we put as text. You see, the value does not match with the number data type in this column. Okay, so system will first check. Will first check whether the data that you enter is matching or not with the data type. Macam sini saya tak boleh nak proceed dah. I cannot proceed. Because the data is not correct. So system won't allow me to proceed to the next field. Okay. So this is the examples of input mask or input validation techniques that you can embed into your system. Right? Macam payment ni pun sama juga lah. You can terus create form payment. So payment ID here. Actually I want to show you kalau dekat customer tadi. This one you can adjust lah. You can adjust footer. You can add more here. Kan? Sini you nak tambah lagi. Contohnya you nak masukkan this kan. Okay, this here. Okay lah, payment type. Payment type credit card. So You masukkan list nanti. Kat sini you terus letakkan credit card, cash, online transfer. So when the customer, when the user selecting the payment type here, payment type here nanti user terus boleh dapat list of payment type. You don't have to key in. You just choose whether you're paying using credit card or you pay using apa you pay using cash or online transfer. Nanti boleh buat kat sini. You can add here. Right? So nanti you explore lah if you want to use this. Right? Okay. That one is form. Okay, form view here, form. Okay. Another one is that is form design. Form design, you can identify lah what are the necessary data here, how do we display, what are the options. Okay. And here we can also design the report. This is the customer report. In your customer report will show when the date of report generated, and then this is the customer ID, this is the customer name, okay, customer phone, customer email, address, registration, and you can also adjust the report view here, adjust the report. Okay, so ini yang you gunakan if you using access lah, access, so you can quickly generate the form, generate the report, and this is the interface. But you have to add lah, you have to add here. Contohnya kat sini mungkin ada text box ke, saying something here. What you want the user to key in here. Text box ini is a user to key in. Key in your registration, customer status ya, successful, unsuccessful, okay. Ataupun option group. Ada banyak nanti di sini. Ni radio button kan. Okay, dia ada button sini. Dia create ni sebagai credit customer, cash customer. Sini dia akan pilih lah, kalau dia credit customer dia klik kat sini credit customer. So kalau cash customer dia klik dekat button cash customer. Okay, so the design you will explore later. Right? Okay, ini adalah contoh di mana you boleh buat design using Access. Instead of this, you can also use Canva. So, okay, itu a basic introduction to Access as a database application. Yeah, alright. Panjang pula. Alright, it was 11 dah. Okay, so I think itu ERD tadi sebenarnya tu part of ERD ni. This one is audit ERD. ERD entity relationship diagram. We creating you want to create the relationship between these two tables. Okay. ERD entity relationship diagram, kita nak create relationship antara customer. This is the entity in our database. This is the entity in our database. We have in entity is a place, people, ataupun event that happens in our business where we want to keep the records, we want to keep the data. Okay, so ERD is creating the linkage between this. We have the customer, we have the payment. We want to know which customer make payment. So we have to link between customer and payment. We want to link, and we link this through primary and foreign key approach. Please lihat saya tengok. Mana dia? I'm not sure if I have the time to show it now. Okay. We will connect the relationship here. Okay, relationship. This is basically the ERD line entity relationship diagram. We want to create the relationship between customer table and payment table. So we're creating ERD here. Okay. This is the entity. ERD is entity relationship diagram. These are the two entities that we keep in our database. We want to create the relationship between customer and payment. We have to create through the foreign key and primary key. This is primary key. Primary key is the unique identifier of the entity. Customer, we identify based on customer ID. Student, we identify based on student metric number. Okay. So we link this to this using the primary and foreign key approach. But that one I will show you next class lah, sebab sekarang dah 2:15, right? Okay. So the customer ID here, the primary key in the customer ID will become the foreign key in the payment table. Yeah. By creating customer ID as a foreign key, then only we will link these two tables together. Kita boleh wujudkan relationship. Ini adalah entity customer, ini adalah entity payment, ini adalah characteristics of the customer, these are the characteristics of the payment. We will able to identify which customer make payment by linking this table together, and we will use the concept of primary and foreign key to create the relationship. Okay, that one I will continue next class lah. Okay, cuma in your table, in your system, you should identify what are the entities. What are the entities? Entities means people, place, transactions, or event that take place where you want to record the data. Okay, so you list down dulu. Because this, there are relationship like one to one, one to many, many to many. I'll show you next class. Okay, boleh? Can? Right? Okay. But for now, you create this one first. You identify who are the entity in your system. What kind of data you want to keep. Right? Okay. I think we ran out of time. Okay, insyaAllah we'll meet again next. Mungkin next kita kena ada briefing lagi.